From the murky waters of the sportsman's paradise, stories emerge. Stories of the generations of people who have shared in the bounties of the land. Stories of communities that have persevered through natural disasters. Stories of the abundance of fish, wildlife, and adventures that create an ecosystem rich in diversity. And from the silted banks of the mighty Mississippi to the soggy marsh bottoms, from the tops of towering pine forests to the depths of the salty Gulf, human and animal have shared this fortune for centuries. Enjoy these stories as told by outdoor journalists who travel across our state, documenting the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage that make us Bayou Wild.
And welcome to Bayou Wild TV. We're at Morton Seafood Restaurant in the banks of the Tchefuncte River in Madisonville with another exciting show. This week we take you behind the scenes.
That's right. We're going to head up to Double D in Bogalusa. You've seen their ads. They are a family-run business that makes a great product. Not only do they process hogs, they also process deer and just about any animal you can take to a processor in Louisiana.
The original sausage was a basic mild sausage, and over time, as customers asked for new flavors, we would work on that and develop it, and some of them were our own ideas. We came up with new flavors that we thought were good and would try them out and show them to people, and they were good. And so people started asking for them more and more frequently.
They put you to work too.
They sure did. It is really interesting to see the behind the scenes because a lot of times you don't know what happens after you drop your food off. You know, you pick it up as sausage, but we're going to show you how it gets there and the whole process in making those delicious meats.
And another mouth-watering, taste-tempting recipe coming up here on Bayou Wild.
The inside of this fish is so moist and juicy, you just know when you break it, it's going to kind of drip.
Oh, you making people hungry.
Kind of drip that natural, my God, the flavor of the inside of that fish, but it's the outside that's going to make this fish spectacular, right?
Closed captioning made possible by Ceto.com. Become a member. I've been using Louisiana fish fry products so much, even the kids are getting into it.
Yellow bag, pour and boil, a great crawfish every time.
And whether you're boiling crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, Louisiana fish fry products use the perfect blend of garlic, onion, spices, and salt for your seafood boils. So look for the bright yellow bag and pour and boil with Louisiana fish fry products. If you're lucky enough to bag a deer or a hog this season, bring it here to Double D. Double D processes hogs and exotic game and guarantees your product is always the meat you brought to Double D.
Double D Meats in Bogalusa, home of country smoked, spicy jalapeno cheddar, and other customized flavors.
Bring your deer or your hog here to Double D, where you always get your meat back in return. It's worth a drive to Bogalusa from anywhere. Double D. When it comes to meat processing, there's one name that many have counted on for decades. That name is Double D.
Double D was started in 1967 by my grandfather, Dutch Stogner, and his partner, Don Johnson. So the Dutch and the Don were the Double D. It started off as a custom processor for local farmers that had pigs or cows, or if they were lucky enough to shoot a deer back in the day. But they would process the meat for the farmers, primarily into hams, bacon, and they would make a little bit of sausage when they had the trim. And then the sausage became popular and took off, and people wanted more of it. When they started, the total number of employees was 3. It was my grandfather, my grandmother, and my dad. And not long after, my uncle joined, so then they had 4 employees and slowly added over the years. As business picked up, they added people, and currently we've got about 38, 40 employees on the payroll.
Double D still produces the original recipe for traditional country smoked sausage, but over the years, recipes have evolved to include other flavors.
The original sausage was a basic mild sausage, and over time, as customers asked for new flavors, we would work on that and develop it, and some of them were our own ideas. You know, we came up with new flavors that we thought were good and would try them out and show them to people, and they were good. And so people started asking for them more and more frequently. The meat business in general is always challenging because our business depends on a lot of people up the chain from us in terms of raw materials, and there are a lot of things that we don't have any control over. Commodity prices, the regulatory environment changed. It's been relatively steady for several years, but there was a stretch where the regulations were changing quite frequently, and so you have to deal with that, and your process has to change. Food safety has been a big concern for a lot of people, and so we have to stay modern with processes and techniques and some of the ingredients even that we use to make sure that we're keeping up with industry standards and federal standards to make sure the product's safe.
The growing popularity of hunting created a new market for the Stogner family to continue to offer quality processed meats.
If you look at the volume of game that we process today versus the mid-60s or early 70s, certainly the volume has increased because of management practices and popularity, and people have gotten smarter about how to raise and properly harvest animals. We hit a peak somewhere in the late 90s to early 2000s when the population was huge and hunters were taking a lot of animals. Katrina had a big impact. And it's odd because since Katrina we've seen a fairly remarkable decrease. Now it's been steady from year to year, but there was a sharp decrease in the number of animals taken right after Katrina, and don't know if it will ever rebound to what it was, you know, in the late 90s and early 2000s.
And there's a message they share to anyone dropping off animals for processing.
Make sure it's clean. That's the biggest pet peeve. Number one, you don't want to be eating a lot of trash, and we don't want it in the building. And certainly other people that we process, they don't want their meat passing across tables or knives where that may be contaminated from dirty meat. And so we try to catch as much as we can at the back dock. You know, when someone drops an animal off, we want it to be clean before it comes in the building. That's one of the biggest pet peeves that we have.
Nearly 20,000 pounds of smoked sausage and wild game are processed daily at Double D's facility. And with customers locally and as far away as California, it's easy to see why the Stogner family's small-town attitude has stayed true.
I'll often say it's a genetic defect because we're born into it, right? But we are. We were family initiated, family started, and we're still family run. This is the third generation to manage the day-to-day side of it. And you know, the challenge is always with the third generation. But as a child, you know, certainly we were all expected to work in the family business, and we did. From the time that we were old enough to do it, we were here. Up until the time maybe we left town, left the nest, or in my case came back. It was always a family affair.
Coming up next, we put on our hairnets, gloves, and white jackets for a behind-the-scenes tour of the Double D Meat Company.
We're in the processing room. This is our stuffer. After the sausage is mixed and blended, this is where we actually stuff it into casings and then hang it on the trees when it goes in the smokehouse.
How do you loop it? Help! I ruined it.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouse's.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouse's. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouse's makes.
Here's how I guarantee my crawfish tastes great every time. I use what the pros use. I use Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Why do the pros use Louisiana Fish Fry seafood boil?
Because, guys, it has more herbs and spices.
It has a much better flavor.
It's easy. Just pour and boil.
Louisiana Fish Fry brand seafood boil. Find the yellow bag, pour and boil for great crawfish every time.
Find out if alternative treatment is the answer to your pet's health issues. Contact Dr. G at vetnaturally.com.
A lot of folks shoot a lot of deer and pigs, but what happens to them afterwards? We're here at Double D. We're going to take you behind the scenes from start to finish on what happens with your animal and how it winds up delicious at your house.
Customer, wants to see our process, we'll show them that. I mean, we don't have really anything to hide with respect to that. We're very transparent with that, and we can certainly appreciate people's concern that they know where their food's coming from. That's a big push, the organic, the natural, the locally sourced. There's nothing more organic or natural or local than the animal you harvest yourself.
Butchers are deboning quarters of deer that customers have brought in. It's a little bit of a messy process, but before you make sausage, you've got to get the bones out. But these guys, when they get in a rhythm, they can really roll. Yeah, normally on an average day, we'll process 2,000 to 3,000 pounds that comes through this room.
A couple of things, because we've been doing it a long time. We still have employees that were there and remember the old building. We've got people that have been here for close to 40 years and knew my grandfather very well. And so we've tried to remain consistent in the process to do what we always did. We've not changed the recipes, we've not changed the formulas. The other thing that sets us apart is the fact that when you bring your meat in, it's your meat. And we go to great lengths to make sure that when you bring a deer or a hog or whatever it may be, that your meat stays your meat all the way through the process. And we don't commingle and we don't mix your meat with someone else's.
In the processing room, this is our stuffer. After the sausage is mixed and blended, this is where we actually stuff it into casings and then hang it on the trees when it goes in the smokehouse.
How do you loop it? Help! I ruined it.
Buffalo, red stag, we had some African exotic zebu type animal come in, with giant shoulder blades and weird looking back straps. Real pretty meat, but the structure was a lot different. We've done alligators, we've done ostriches. With the increase in the hog population, we have a lot more cases where people will shoot a deer and a hog, bring both of them in and have us blended together at the same time. And that actually makes a very, very good product. We see that a lot.
Finally, something more my speed. See, I'm learning from her. You gotta stuff them in there.
We may offer a few more varieties of sausage because people are getting more adventurous with different flavors, some things that may have been unthinkable in the past. People are willing to try, maybe. And quite honestly, a lot of that starts when we do custom processing. But people want those different flavors and that different experience. And if it's one that takes off, the jalapeno and cheese sausage is a result of that. We tried it. Part of the reason why Double D has been successful is because we are consistent with what built the business. We don't look to reinvent the business, we don't look to reinvent the product. We want to keep things as traditional and consistent as possible, and at the same time keep up with modern technology and keep up with the changing environment in raw materials or customer demands or the market in general. As it changes, we obviously have to change with that. But we want to be as true to the original intent, which is a local meat company. And that was what my grandfather always dreamed. That's one of the reasons why we have the market, is because he wanted a butcher shop. That was his dream. It was called Dutch's Dream. And that's something that we want to maintain for as long as the Lord lets us do it.
And welcome back to Bayou Wild. We're with Chef John Folse again for another one of his tasty, innovative cooking recipes. You know, John, speckled trout, #1 target on the inshore coastal fisherman's radar. But so many ways to cook it. People are looking for different ways, though.
No, absolutely. You know, even when I think about cooking fish, I never say, well, I'm going to cook this fish that way or this fish that way. What I like to do is give them the unexpected. So what I'm going to do here is just put a little oil in the skillet. Again, not too much. I'm not deep frying here. I just want to coat the bottom of my skillet. Now, on the speckled trout, we just have some small pieces here, which is perfect for a single plate. And again, they don't come pre-seasoned, so you want to kind of just a little bit of your favorite. And of course, I'm always, as a chef, I'm putting the 3 things that I love most on my fish, and that's just a little salt, a little pepper, a little granulated garlic, just to kind of give it that wonderful flavor. And of course, the flour is done the same way. I just want to kind of give it that nice little pat. And on the flour, I'm not dipping this in milk or water. I just want the natural moisture of the fish to pick up that little coating, and I want to shake off all of that excess because I just want that little
lightly battered.
Lightly battered, but the lightness of that batter also gives the fish a nice crunch on the outside. It's almost like cooking. People say, why do you cook fish skin on? Well, you cook it skin on because you want that crackling on the outside. The flour does the same thing in fish like this beautiful speckled trout. So again, shaking off all the excess. It's seasoned, the flour's seasoned, and I'm going just down into a little bit vegetable oil right there. And I'm not going to move the fish, I'm not going to play around with it. I just want the fish to sit there and do its thing, because that's where the crispness is going to come from. That flour is just going to go ahead and give it that beauty. And I would recommend this kind of a technique in cooking to most of your fish. I mean, most of your, at least your thin-bodied fish like this, is the perfect way to to cook them. Now I'm going to just kind of see what we look like on the other side.
It looks good to me.
And you see
Looking
that?
good.
See those little dark spots there? That's coming about from the fact that, and you see it's almost stiff and crispy, right? The inside of this fish is so moist and juicy, you just know when you break it, it's going to kind of drip.
Oh, you making people hungry.
Kind of drip that natural, my God, the flavor of the inside of that fish. But it's the outside that's going to make this fish spectacular, right? And again, you can put, by the way, use herbs. I mean, a lot of guys like your onion, celery, bell pepper, and all of those kind of things. Well, go ahead and use them. That's not a big deal. Now, once this is cooked, what I like to do is to take it, I want the drippings of the pan to be my sauce as well. So this is called Trout Rex. Look, Mardi Gras is all year long for us. Right?
I agree with that.
And this is one of my top fish dishes in the restaurant.
We're going to let that go just a little bit longer, and then we're going to come back and we're going to really dress it up.
We're just going to let it go, and when we come back, we're going to go ahead and throw the rest of our flavors in here, okay?
The best is yet to come. Stay with us on Bayou Wild TV. I've been using Louisiana fish fry products so much, even the kids are getting into it.
Barnio bag, pour and boil, a great crawfish every time.
And whether you're boiling crawfish, shrimp, or crabs, Louisiana fish fry products use the perfect blend of garlic, onion, spices, and salt for your seafood boils. So look for the bright yellow bag and pour and boil with Louisiana fish fry products.
Hi, I'm Donnie Rouse. There are a lot of different reasons to shop at Rouse's.
It's the people. Everybody that works here is just so nice.
Our stores get deliveries 7 days a week.
They have such a wide variety at Rouse's. Everything's in stock. I mean, everything.
We use Rouse family recipes and ingredients found right here in the store.
It's the food. Rouse's food tastes like homemade.
And they're local.
Like us.
We also have great prices.
That's the difference Rouse's makes.
Well, with Chef John Folse at White Oak Plantation, where we're doing Trout Rex, where it's Mardi Gras every day, right?
It is, and we have our fish nice and crispy, and I point that out again. It's almost stiff, but so juicy on the inside. Now, I call it Trout Rex because it's patterned after one of the Mardi Gras kings, obviously. I use the same drippings in the pot that I cooked the fish in, and I'm putting a little green onion garlic right down in there like that. And then I'm going to put about half of the, you see the colors I'm using? So I have a little gold, a little green. You with me?
I'm with you.
And of course, this is just squash. So I'm just kind of throw that around a little bit. Now I'm going to go in with a little touch. What do you think of that crab meat?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to give you this. I'm not sure. I might have other plans for this.
Why don't you just go ahead and because these vegetables are pretty much cooking. Now I need a little bit of this chicken stock. Just pour about a little bit in there, that's plenty. And then give me my herbs. I have a little basil, a little thyme. You can just sprinkle some of them in there, not too much. And I don't want to overcook the crab meat. I just want to wilt the green and gold squash. Now I need my purple. That's purple cabbage. And I'll just take, again, a little bit of this to give me the colors of carnival on my fish. Now this is a great dish when company comes, because you can still talk about Mardi Gras, even though Mardi Gras is gone. The foods of carnival, the colors of carnival, what do they mean? And now a little butter. You see that butter? I'm going to finish it with a couple little pats. Just kind of throw a couple little pats down in there. And I'm going to, a little touch of salt, a little touch of pepper. Now, if you give me that nice platter right there, I'm going to just kind of melt this butter down a little bit. Kind of get that butter melting down. That butter's going to just give it that sweet cream flavor. And I'm going to take it like that and just kind of. Now I'm going to go on to my plate like that with some of that. There you go. That's the bed for my. This is the float. This is the float.
Okay.
And then you can put it down right up there. And I'm going to, let's go in with the fish. I'm going to put the fish right on top of it like this. And now this is a double portion, so it would go up to the table. Well, I say a double portion, not for you or I. And then, of course, we can come back and sprinkle just a little bit more of the basil and thyme on top of it. Just treating a simple fish say a simple fish, one of our best fish. You can even put a little hollandaise sauce on. You can even get hollandaise in the store nowadays. Now, doesn't that look like carnival?
I'm
Fit
telling
for a
you.
king?
You know what I got to say about that? They say hail Rex. I say hail yes. Trout Rex. You can make it at home and be a hero. With Chef John Folse, I'm Don Dubuque on Bayou Wild TV.
Easy to do.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
Discover the taste of Louisiana that's seasoned just right, boiled to perfection, and rich with tradition. A taste that's savory, crispy, and a little sweet. Discover the taste of Louisiana fish fry products.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
Thanks for joining us for Bayou Wild TV. Join us next week for another action-packed episode. And check us out if you missed the episodes on TV. You can always check them out on our YouTube channel. Just put in Bayou Wild TV.
Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and be back here again next week for another edition of Bayou Wild.